Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Balasubramaniam, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Zoology, Government First Grade College, and PG Center, Chintamani. And the topic today we are going to discuss about the flight adaptations in birds. That is the part 2. Now, this syllabus belongs to the B.Sc program, and subject is zoology, and third semester, and of Bangalore North University. See, flight adaptations in birds. Last class we saw some of the characteristics of flight adaptations, and further continuation of the flight adaptations. Now, wherever we go, so we consider the birds as the masters of air, and the scientist coined the term called the young in 1956. So, as we know, the birds are unique in so many respects with reference to the other vertebrates. So here, the bones are so-called hollow bones or pneumatic bones or air-filled bones, yet strong bones, and pectoral musculature is there, and aerodynamic shape of the wings. So all this is nature, and the birds have good vision. All these things we discuss in this chapter. Now here, warm-blooded animals. The birds are considered as warm-blooded animals. The perfect aeration of blood is responsible for high temperature of body. Approximately 40 degrees centigrade to 46 degrees centigrade is the body temperature, which is required by the birds for their high metabolism, and also during flight. So they give a lot of energy. So there is a great output of energy while the bird is flying, so that energy is released whenever there is a high body temperature. Further, so they are called homeotherms, or they maintain the constant body temperature irrespective of the external environment. And the circulatory system is another flight adaptations in the case of the birds. So there is a rapid metabolism, and there is a efficient circulatory system, and heart is relatively large. This is a point you should remember. The heart is relatively large in the case of the birds, and the heartbeat is also very high in the case of the birds. Approximately some birds, so there is a 300 times per minute the heart is going to beat. 300 times per minute to somewhere around 410 times per minute. The heart is beating per minute. 410 times the heart beats per minute. So they have high metabolism, and the circulatory system is most efficient, and the heart size is comparatively larger, and complete double circulation is there, and high proportion of hemoglobin is present in the red blood corpuscles, which is responsible for quick and perfect aeration. So as you know, this RBC carries the hemoglobin, and this hemoglobin responsible for the transport of the oxygen as well as carbon dioxide. So therefore, there is a heart is large, and a lot of hemoglobin is there in the erythrocytes or RBCs, which is required for the quick aeration, and quicker circulation is there in the case of the birds. So there is complete double circulation which is required for the flight. And here, next, these organisms are urothelic organisms. That means they excrete the uric acid. The birds do not have the urinary bladder, and the excreted product is the uric acid, and this uric acid is excreted as a semi-solid excreta, and it has the insoluble uric acid and urates which are voided at once. These features help in the reducing the unnecessary weight of the body. Now, whenever the bird has less accessibility to water. So the excreted product seems to be uric acid, particularly in the birds and reptiles. Further, so the kidneys are well developed, and the kidneys are metanephric kidneys, and this uric acid is less soluble in water, and to excrete uric acid, the organisms want to expenditure a lot of energy. The organisms expends a lot of energy. There is a lot of expenditure to release the uric acid. Same characteristics, so this nature of the bird, so there is a lot of characteristics discussed in the last class. And here for the brain and sense organs, so here the birds depend mainly on the vision rather than the smell. So here the optic lobes are very well developed in the case of the birds. So to say, the birds can see 200 times greater than the human beings. So their vision capacity is very well developed. And to help in the vision capacity, so the optic lobes are well developed, and relatively eyes are larger, and the birds mainly depend on the vision rather than the smell. So therefore, these olfactory lobes are poorly developed in the case of the brain. And coming to the brain, so this brain is covered by meninges, and here the cerebrum is well developed, and the cerebellum is also well developed. So cerebrum is involved in the voluntary activities, and it is involved in the memory, and a lot of intelligence, parental care are involved in the cerebral hemispheres. Further, cerebellum is involved in the body posture or body equilibrium. So cerebellum is also well developed in the case of the birds, because the birds, there is a perfect equilibrium or body posture. So the body posture, body equilibrium regulations is performed by the cerebellum. Further, the optic lobes are also well developed, because the birds depend most on the vision rather than the smell. And finally, the birds have 12 pairs of cranial nerves. These 12 pairs of cranial nerves, the nerves which are directly arising from the brain. Further, single ovary is there. So the presence of single ovary, functional ovary in the left side of the female bird, which lead to the reduction in the weight of the organism, which is essential for flight. So single ovary and single oviduct is there compared to the other animals which have 2 ovaries and 2 oviducts. So this is the one internal anatomical features of the birds. So this is just different types of the feet adaptations and different organization, skeletal organization in the birds. Another diagram. Further, we should mention some of the characteristics like which are essential for flight. So here the birds lay cludic eggs. So that is the eggs are covered by calcareous shells, and they are amniotes, and there is incubation. So perfect incubation is there in the case of the birds. So these are some of the features in the case of the birds. So further, finally, references with reference to the references here, the flight adaptation birds. So we find a lot of information in the vertebrates textbook by Aryan Kotpal, Jordan Verma, and Ekamannath Iyer, and Dhami and S.N. Prasad. Thank you for listening.